Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. It's your main math man, Miss Shank, coming to you live from Walker Graham Middle School. And in this video, we're still working on that SOL review guide. We're now on that SOL 8.4. So this is talking about that consumer math. So that's anything money, anything ratios, proportions, anything dealing with that dollar sign. So make sure you're seeing those things to know. So again, we're saying a percent is that ratio out of 100. Again, make sure you're using that percent proportion where the is equal to the percent over 100. Also make sure you're seeing that simple interest formula where I equals PRT, where I is a simple interest, P is the principal, R is the interest rate, make sure to write that as a decimal, and T is time in years. Also to make sure you see that percent change formula that is there for you. So it's anytime you're looking for that percent change, it's gonna be that big number minus that small number divided by the original number. Again, make sure you're using that Desmos calculator like we will as always. So number one, it says on Mark's first day, he ran 5 laps of the track without stopping. After training for several weeks, he was able to run 9 laps without stopping. What is the percent increase from Mark's first to his most recent run? So again, we're going to say percent change. So we're going to have big number minus a small number divided by the original. Again, you can also type that into the Desmos calculator. So I can say a big number minus that small number, and then I can highlight and say, all right, I need to have all of this divided by the original number. Again, be mindful, I am typing the letter O. That is not a 0, that is an O. And we said, all right, we have the original is going to be 5, and then we can also say, all right, so let's say this, we have original is equal to 5, we have the big number out of those two is 9, the small number out of those two is 5, and so that's going to be 80%. So we're going to have, this is going to be equal to 9 minus 5 over 5, which is equal to 0.8, which is the same as 80%. In number 2, it says an airplane leaves Richmond on Monday morning carrying 263 passengers to New York City. On Tuesday morning, there are 154 passengers flying from Richmond to New York City. Which is the closest to the percent decrease in the number of passengers? So again, let me actually use that same formula. And what I can do is I can just take out those values. So we're saying this, all right, so it has Monday and then it has Tuesday. So that kind of gives you an idea of what your original amount is going to be and what your new amount is going to be. So I'm going to have my original as 263. That is also the big number, so I say 263, and the small number is 154. Again, it gives you that that decimal form, which you can change to a percent. So I'm going to actually take my answer and multiply it by 100, so that way I can get, I'm going to say it's about 41%, which is that choice A. So make sure you can, if you need to, you can use that round function to get to the nearest whole percent, but I need to make sure I'm changing from that decimal to a percent, which you have to multiply it by 100 to do that. For number 3, it says an ice cream shop owner pays 12 cents per regular cone and 23 cents per waffle cone. Customers are allowed to choose which type of ice cream cone they would prefer. If 2/3 of the 276 cones sold last week were waffle cones, how much did the owner spend on waffle cones last week? So we're saying, all right, let me clear this out. We're saying, all right, we have 1/3 of the 276. Anytime you have of, make sure that means multiply. So we're going to have 1/3 times that 276 which we need to make sure that we can say, all right, or sorry, 2/3. That's why I was making a mistake. 2/3. It says right there, 2/3. I knew there's something off here. 2/3. There we go. So 2/3 of the cones last week were waffle cones. So that's going to be 184. So that means I can take this. I can take 184. So I take my answer, and we're saying, okay, it cost 23 cents per cone. So I'm going to say times 0.23. So it's going to be that last choice right there, since we had to say, okay, the cost of that many cones was $42.32. For number 4, it says Sam saves money in an account that pays 4.3 in simple interest. If Sam places $6,500 in his account and neither adds to nor takes from the account for 4 years, how much interest will Sam earn? So we have this. We have, all right, our interest. We have interest is equal to the principal times the rate times the time. We're going to say the principal is that starting amount, so that's going to be the 6,500. Our rate is that 4.3%, so we can do 4.3 divided by 100, because we need to change it from a percent to a decimal. And then we could say that time in years is going to be 4 years, and so the interest earned over those 4 years is going to be that 1,118. For number 5, it says Joe Nathan bought a new jacket. The jacket originally cost $79.95, but is on sale for 20% off. How much does Jonathan pay for the jacket? So it's asking for the new price. So make sure you're solving for the new price. We can find the amount off. So we can say 20%. I can say 20% of the original price, which is $79.95. So that $15.99, that's going to be the amount off. So we're going to say, all right, I take the original price, 95, and I have to subtract my amount off to get my new price. So my new price is going to be that $63.96. Again, make sure you're always, reading carefully depending on what the situation is. It could be asking for just the discount amount. It could be asking for the percent off, but it is asking how much is that new price. In number 6, it says the ratio of winning raffle tickets to losing raffle tickets is 4-9. If Mr. Tucker purchases 117 raffle tickets, how many winning tickets can he expect to have? So what we can do for this, we can set up a nice little proportion. Let me double check to make sure I have it here. Yep. All right, so we're gonna say, all right, we have win to loss is gonna be the same as, we have 4-9. 4-9 is going to be equal to, and he has this. So what I can do is I can actually say, all right, the win to loss is that, and so what I can do is I can multiply that, because we're saying it's still that same ratio. So we can say, all right, we can take and multiply that by 117. So I have 4/9, and then I have times 117. Let me make sure I type that in carefully. Be mindful of where that cursor is at. All right, so then we can have that it's going to be 52. So you can expect to have 52 winning tickets. All right, moving to the back. For number 7, it says Daryl's restaurant bill is $89.75. If Daryl wants to leave an 18% tip, how much tip does the server receive? So again, for this one, it's only looking for that tip amount. So again, we can have 18, let's say 18% of that $89.75. And again, that will give us our tip amount, which again, you can use that round function. I want to round, let me type that carefully, round my answer to the nearest second decimal place, which is going to be that $16.16. Again, that's not the total including tip, that is just the tip amount. For number 8, it says Mr. Porter grocery bill is $143.74. If 5.3% sales tax is added to his bill, what is the total Mr. Porter owes? So now we're going to have to add those two together. So we're going to say, all right, 5.3% of that amount, which is 143.74. And so I want to say, all right, that this is going to be the $7.62. That's going to be my tax. However, it's asking for the total bill with tax, so I have to take and add those two together. So I'm going to do 143.74 plus my previous answer. And what I can do is I can also round. Let me round that to the second decimal place. Again, use that comma, and then I want 2 decimal places, so I write that 2 there. So it's going to be $151.36. For number 9, it says a real estate agent earns 2.7% in commission on sales. If the agent had 3,827,820 in sales last year, approximately how much did the agent earn in commission? All right, so we're going to say, okay, if these are the sales amount, they earn that much in commission, so we just have to multiply. So we're saying, okay, I just have to take that 2.7% of that sales total. So I have 3,827,820. So that's not too bad of an amount when you have that many sales. We're going to say, alrighty, let's have approximately. So again, I have a comma in the middle, so this is going to be 103,351. So we have 103,351. So it's approximately about that much is how much they would make in commission. On number 10, or in number 10, it says on March 1st, Kendra's checking account had a balance of $325.31. She wrote a check, so we're going to say we have to subtract this amount. We have to subtract that amount, and then withdrew $40 from the ATM. So withdrew is also a subtract, so let me put that here. And deposited, so that means plus. What is the balance after that? So again, that balance just means that total after all transactions are good. So again, we use the Desmos calculator to help us out with this. So we have 325.31. I'm going to say, okay, I have to subtract 24.85. Then I have to subtract 40, but then I can add in 15. So that means I have a total. So the balance is going to be equal to, let's say, the $275.46. So that's going to be their balance after those transactions. For number 11, it says a ticket resale service sells sports championship tickets at a markup of 250%. If a ticket originally cost $150, how much does the resale service charge after adding its markup to the price? So make sure you're saying, okay, markup, so we're going to have an increase in price. However, when we find that amount, we have to add it to the original cost. So we're going to say original plus the markup is going to equal our total. Again, if you ever need to write it out, so that way you can say, okay, what am I finding? What do I have? What do I need? So let's say, all right, I have to find the markup amount first. So I'd say 250% of that $150. So that markup amount is a large increase, but we're gonna say, okay, that markup amount is that 375. That original was 150. Add those two together. So I can say 150 plus my answer is going to equal $525. That is going to be the total of that championship ticket. All right, moving on. It says number 12, Carla worked 13 and 1/4 hours, making $9.75 per hour. Daniel earned $10.50 per hour and worked 11 3/4 hours. What was the total amount of money earned? So, a way that you can do this, I like to work with fractions, but some people don't. So what you can do is change that to a decimal. Again, you can also write it like this. I can say 13 and 1/4 is going to be that 13.25. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say 13.25 times so that's the hours they worked, and I have 9.75. So I have my answer times 9.75. So that's going to be, let me round that to the second decimal place for us. So I have $129.19. That is the amount that Carla worked. So now we also need to find Daniel and then add them together. So for Daniel, we have, let's do this. Let me do 11 and 3/4. So that's going to be 11.75. I'm going to multiply that times the hourly wage. So I have my answer times that 10.5, and then I can round my answer to that second decimal place. So I can say this is going to be 123.38 and add those two together. So I can take 129.19, add it to my amount that Daniel made. And so in combination of these two amounts, we can say together, they made $252.57. All right. For number 13, it says of the 280 students in grade 6, 35% plan to attend the spring dance. How many 6th graders aren't planning on going to the dance? A couple ways you can do this, but I'll show you multiple ways. So again, you can think of it like this. You can say, all right, I have the part over the whole, and I can set up a proportion. So I can say, okay, I have 35%, which is the same as 35 over 100, where it gives us the total amount of students in grade 6. So we can say 280. And then we could say, well, we don't know how many are planning on attending. Again, you can set up a proportion and multiply like that. But what you could do is this. I could also, so I can say the proportion, or you could do it like this. I could say I have 35%, so I'm going to do 35% of that 280. This will give me, so 98 attending, and then I could just subtract that. So I'm going to say 280 minus my answer. So I'm going to say 182 are not attending. All right. And then moving on for number 14, it says the school fundraiser goal was $5,000 due to the greatest participation ever. The school was able to raise 175% of their goal. How much money did they raise? So what you can just do, again, use that. Notice how it has percent of their goal. So again, say 175% of 5,000, and it will give me my total amount. So I have 175% of 5,000 is going to be equal to $8,750. And then lastly, for number 15, it says the same hoodie is priced differently in different stores and is on sale with a different discount in each. In which store can the hoodie be purchased for the least? So we're looking for the cheapest amount of money. So what you can do, a couple of ways of doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just find the sale price for each of them and then compare. So I have to say, all right, 15% of the 29.99. However, I have to make sure I'm subtracting that. So I have to take that original amount and subtract my answer. And so I can say this is about 25.49. Again, this is going to be, let me label it like this. Let me say this is the sale price. All right, so let's do the next store two. We have 20% of $26.99. So we say 26.99 minus my answer. So I have $21.59. For store three, we have 25% of $29.99. Take that original price and subtract your discount amount, so 22.49. And then lastly, they would say, hey, I have a large discount. However, you're trying to look at that sale price. So it's not always about, the original price or the discount amount. It's the combination of those two. So I can say 30% of $32.99. I have to subtract those two. And so this is going to be $23.10. So now out of these three, I would say that store two is my cheapest for that hoodie.